The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
The topic of today's webinar is how to record service transactions in ServicePoint. So, service transactions are for projects like rapid rehousing and prevention, or even self resolution funds. The type of service transactions that are recorded typically are case management, rental payment, rental deposit, utility payment, utility deposit, moving expense, and maybe a rental application fee. So when you cut a check to pay a client's rent, you need to record that as a service transaction in ServicePoint. So you've already done all your data entry up to this point. You've added the client to the database, possibly. You've created the household, you've entered your ROI, and you've put your client in your program. So you've done your entry record and answered all the assessment questions. So now we have this tab right back here called Service Transactions. So we're going to click on Service Transactions, and we have some choices here. And I like to use the quickest way to get services done, and that is by adding multiple services. Now, even though it says multiple, I can add just one. So I'm going to click on Add Multiple Services, and I'm going to include my household if, in fact, I have a household. I am going to put in the date of when this check was probably requested. So my check request day. So it may have happened on October 15th. Then I'm going to select the service type. And so I have these choices. And this one is going to be a rent payment. So I'm going to select rent payment. And now I need to choose my fund source. So this is where your money is coming from. So before you start this service transaction process, you need to know where your money is coming from. And typically, your money matches your project that you're entering the client into. So are you entering it into VSHP money? Are you entering it into a ESG project? So if we use the next button, we also have some HOPWA project types. We also have HUD. We also simply have internal budget. So maybe your organization reached out to a local community partner and you got a grant. So that could be considered internal money. If you have self-resolution funds, you would also use internal budget. And if we hit next again, we have a few more. And here is our VSHP project. So I'm going to select that. And then I'm going to enter the amount. So the check was for $550. And I do not need to put decimal 00 unless I was also paying just 50 cents. So 550, 50. But in this case, it's just 550. So I'm going to now mark the need closed because it's done. I wrote the check and it is fully met. So I have just entered one service for this client. So I'm going to save and exit. Okay. So now I need to record a case management for this client. So if you get VSHP funding, you are required to record at least one case management per month. So I'm going to click my Add Multiple Service button again. I'm going to include my whole family. And at this point, since it needs to just be one per month, it doesn't matter what day in October I record the case management for. So I'm going to select case management. Now with case management, I didn't write a check to any other outside partner. So there are no funds associated with case management. But my status has to be closed and fully met because this is my one case management per month. So it's a done deal. I'm going to save and exit. Now, to make sure that I've answered it all correctly, I'm going to view entire service history. So what I have here is I have my rent payment on October 15th, and it's closed and fully met. I have my October case management, and it is closed and fully met. And this particular client has some other services from some other providers, and you can see how it was left just identified. So that would be incorrect. It must be marked closed and fully met. So here's another example. This one is incorrect. Now, to fix this, if in fact this was your provider, which it's not, so I can't fix someone else's data, I would pencil it and then I would mark it closed and fully met. Okay. So let's say though, I need to enter in a security deposit. So I'm going to click back to dashboard and I'm here. And I am once again going to click add multiple services. I'm going to include the family. And this time I paid the utility deposit on October 1st. So I changed the date to October 1st. I'm going to pick utility deposit. And again, this is a check. So I'm going to add my funds. And it was BSHP. And this time it was for $77.23. Again, it is closed and fully met. And I'm going to save and exit. Okay. So recording service transactions is actually quite easy. You just need to make sure of a couple of things. You again need to make sure that you have closed and fully met. You have the correct date. And did you select the correct funding source? And if I pencil my service, I can go back and see that yes, indeed, I picked the correct funding source. So that is how you record service transactions. It's actually quite easy. Thanks for joining.